Why willpower isn't enough and how to make good habits stick. So, why willpower isn't enough? Many people think breaking bad habits is about self-control, but that's a myth because willpower alone is not a sustainable strategy. Willpower is a limited resource, meaning that the more we rely on it throughout the day, the weaker it becomes. Think about it. Have you ever started a morning strong? You're eating healthy, you're staying focused, you're being productive, only to crash in the evening, giving in to all the habits that you were trying to avoid in the morning. That's because your willpower drains like a battery as the day goes on. This is exactly what happens to Emily, our example queen, when she's trying to stay on top of her acting career while also balancing her survival job and auditions. In the morning, she tells herself, I won't scroll my phone tonight before bed. By evening, she's mentally exhausted and the temptation to just zone out on social media, it's too strong. And then she feels frustrated and tells herself she needs to have more discipline. And then the same cycle repeats. The truth is, willpower alone isn't enough to make lasting change. But the good news is, there are strategies that work far better. So let's talk a little bit more about why willpower fades and what we can do instead. So willpower functions like a muscle. If you overuse it without rest, it gets fatigued. That's why after a long day of making decisions or avoiding distractions and pushing through challenges, your brain is more likely to default to old habits. So how does Emily experience this? Emily tells herself that she's going to work on her script after her shift at the coffee shop. But when she gets home, her brain is drained from a day full of small decisions like what to wear, what to say to that customer, how to handle that rude customer, what to eat at lunch, how to balance her schedule. So by the time she sits down to work on her script, she has zero mental energy left. And suddenly, Netflix seems way more appealing. But there's a solution here. Instead of relying on willpower, she just needs to set up some systems and triggers to make it easier to follow through. The power of environmental design. Your environment is actually stronger than your willpower. So design it to work for you and not against you. And here's an example of how Emily uses this. So before, Emily kept putting her phone right next to her bed. And every night she would tell herself, I won't scroll before bed tonight. And then the second she lies down, she just grabs it out of habit. After she learns about the power of environment, now she moves her phone to another room. She puts a book on her nightstand instead. And now when she gets into bed, the book is the default action, not scrolling. So here for bad habits, we want to make them more difficult to do. And for good habits, we want to make them more easy and obvious to do. Let me give you a few more examples here. You want to drink more water? Keep a water bottle next to your laptop. You want to cut down on your social media? Remove the apps from your home screen. You want to wake up earlier? Put your alarm clock across the room. By designing your environment, you remove the need for willpower entirely, and habits happen more naturally. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about accountability and tracking and why small wins matter so much. So, humans, we are wired for progress, right? So, seeing small wins helps keep us motivated and we start building momentum. So, here's how you do this. Let's use Emily, right? She starts tracking her habits in a simple way. So each day she practices her monologue, she marks an X on her calendar, and after a week, she has a streak. She doesn't want to break it. It's a great accountability strategy. Here's some other accountability strategies. Tell your friend or your coach about your goal. Use an app to track your progress. Heck, use my app to track your progress. And lastly, reward yourself for consistency, but not with a self-sabotaging habit. Tracking creates momentum. So once you see progress, you're gonna keep going. So how does this all tie into the worksheet for the day? So instead of quitting a bad habit, today we're replacing a bad habit with something better. And we are setting up systems that make that habit more automatic. And here's an example with Emily. Her bad habit is that she scrolls on her phone at night instead of sleeping. Here's her new habit. She's going to read one page of her book before bed. And her system setup is that she leaves her book on her pillow or and charges her phone in the other room. So let's just recap here. How do we make good habits stick? First is remember that willpower isn't enough, but we can use these strategies to help. And the strategies are to design your environment so good habits are easy and bad habits are difficult, and also to track your progress and celebrate your wins to keep you motivated, keep the momentum up.